Hello, I'm Pranjal Pandey, and this is my submission for Postman API Hackathon. So, my submission is an open source social networking API. This contains the schema, collection of tools, and a server side implementation to build your very own social networking site or integrate social networking feature to an existing application. When I had this requirement, I did find a few tools like Elk, but the problem with those tools was they were a full-fledged implementation with GUI, and they lack a proper API for integrating social networking feature into existing application. So I decided to make it myself. Let's take a look at my workspace and let's see the journey. So this is my Postman workspace. The whole journey started with creating a schema. When I was building this schema, I wanted to make a schema that inspire other Postman community members to write beautiful one. So I created my schema with a lot of comments, separators to separate and easily understand different kind of API. All the APIs are defined with examples. So the whole schema designing started with APIs at one place and the models at the end of it. Each model is properly defined with a lot of comment and example to how to implement a model. As you will see right now, this is an API collection for working with user relations. So there are all these API with all the comments and the separators. So I wanted to make the schema very beautiful for users to read. It should be very user friendly, human friendly, because just reading boring YAML doesn't kind of make sense. So yeah, and you can see here all the model starts from here. Yeah, so you can see here's a user model, clearly defined, well commented with examples and all the models. So my concept was, just by looking at the specification and schema, people can understand how to implement this schema, as this is a API first development approach. So obviously the first part is defining the API and then jumping into the development page. This is available on GitHub. There is already link available in my submission. Once my schema was ready, it was time to create a mock server. Creating a mock server with Postman was a breeze. It was a single click thing. Most of the heavy lifting was done by Postman, and here's my collection. Had to do a few tweaks here and there and write some environment variables, as I'll show you. Here are some environment variables, some user IDs, post IDs for testing, and it was ready. Everything was working perfectly fine, as you can see. Here you can see the list of all the feeds that are available in this API: the user management, the post management, comments management, likes management, relations management, messages, and feed. So the relations can be anything. It can be follow, friendship, unidirectional, bidirectional, or as complex as circle. That's how flexible the APIs were designed to be. It can be implemented the way you want. Any relation, even the users, you can see from here. If I show you the post user body, you can see only ID, name, username, email, and image is required. Any other metadata you want to store about the user, including gender, name, city, date of birth, anything, it can be easily added inside meta. Same goes for post. Even posts come with meta. And after designing the mock server and testing it out, I was a bit excited, but this seemed boring, really boring. Looking at JSON doesn't excite you, well, right? So I used the visualize feature provided by Postman to actually create a really visual representation of the post. Here you can see I've used UIKit to actually visually present the post, to give developers a preview of what actually they can create using this API. So this was a preview of posts. There is a preview of comments as well. As you can see here, if I go to visualize, you can see a small preview of comments. There are preview of feed API, the main API that generates the activity feed. If I go here, I'll get the activity. Here's the JSON object with all the detail of activity, the action, the owner of the activity, and the object the activity is performed on. And here's the visualization. Pranjal Pandey liked the image, the actual post. Pranjal Pandey followed Vinit Singh. So it's really simple. It's just owner, action, and the object. That's the only thing you'll require to get the fit. So yes, when I took you to this journey, you can see the overall how these APIs were designed. It was designed to be really flexible so that it can be implemented any way you want, and any kind of post you want to have, any kind of relationship you have, any kind of user data you want to store. So it does provide a lot of flexibility to implement your system. We don't force anything. This API doesn't force anything. It gives you a lot of flexibility. And here are the very basic components of a social networking site, all implemented, including messages, relation, everything can be tested out using mock server. And the other interesting thing along with the mock server is the dev environment. Dev environment is built with visualization here. So let me just get really quick to my dev environment. So as you can see, my dev environment is running using Valet. It's available at ossn.test/API. I'll just run this API, and here we have the visualization of the response sent by server. The images are broken. As you can see, the response sent by server did have a example.com, because right now I'm building the server implementation. So yeah, the dev collection was built to make it easy to develop and test the servers with visualization element for post and stuff. It was great. Once I was done with setting up mock, the next thing that came was documentations. Without a good documentation, a project is nothing, because if you don't have a proper documentation to explain users how to implement the server, how to implement the client-side code, users won't actually use it. So here I use the Documentor tool provided by Postman to create documentation. First I create a documents collection, and as you can see, all the collection is filled with the documentation. If I open here, everything is well documented. Once my documentation was ready for each and every pages, as you can see here, I did just generate a documentation which is available right here on the document or generated document page. The document is really beautiful. I did like Documenter very much. So here's all the collections, the example requests, the example responses, all the description about the API, everything you would need to implement a client side code or a server side implementation of the OSSN API is available here. On all the collection, the mock collection and dev collection, single users were part of the users folder, but on the document collection I did make it different, so the documents are easy to read and easy to understand. After all the hard work related to documentation, mocking, development environment, it was time to actually start building the implementation. So I did start building the implementation, and the good thing about using OpenAPI 3 standards is there are a lot of generators for client-side code, but on the backside there are a bit less generators on the server side. So when I was trying to find out a generator to get my server-side implementation bootstrap, I didn't find one. So I actually decided to make my own generator. The generator, just like every other thing that's part of this project, is available open source at GitHub here. From there you can download the generator, the latest one from the releases, and this generator currently works perfectly well with Scroller framework, but you can tweak a little bit of code and run it with any framework. If I'll just give you a sneak peek, if you go to the generator file, you can see this is the main code that generates the class, so you can tweak this a bit and generate it for any other thing. So once you've downloaded, you can go to the root folder of your scroller, make a file called generator, and copy all the content of the things you've downloaded. Once we're ready with that, let's just generate some APIs. So before I start generating the API, I'll just show you from my dev environment. If I go to get request, I'll go to my generator environment. The generator have the URL generator.test.ape/API, and if I run the command, and it shows a perfect 4040. Let's generate some cool controllers and stubs and get really quick, up and running quick. So I did make a collection to generate the auto-generate the controllers. So as you can see the collection here. The collection doesn't contain any folder because it's does not support folders. So to make it really quick, to make the generator really quick, I just created a generator that takes the JSON file exported by Postman and generates to make it very easy and quickly to develop. I did not develop the support for folders. So as you can see in this collection, I have all the APIs, all the 28 APIs listed out. I'll go and quickly export this collection to my generator folder, the version 2.1. I'll export it to my generator folder. As you can see, I'm already here inside the generation folder. I'll name it postman.json. Save. Once the postman file is inside the generator, we can quickly run php generator.php, and boom, it did the magic. Let's go to our workspace really quickly. If I go inside the API folder, you would see there are all the controllers generated for the API, and it's stubbed with example code that it exported from the Postman. So let's just run this code and see. If I go to generate environment now, send a get request, and boom, we have the request here. Let's visualize the request really quick. So just to play around a bit, why not we go to post, spice things up. I'll change the name from Pranjal to Postman user, let's say, and username to Postman. Let's save this up, go to our Postman, send it, and the visualizer is updated with Postman user and Postman. So the generator did make it really easy thanks to the automatic routing of scroller. Once the controllers are generated, scroller automatically routes all the requests, so all the endpoints are generated with the controller. Last but not the least part of this project is the server-side implementation of the specification. It's a work in progress and would be completed really soon. It's built using Scroller PHP because it's really fast to develop things on Scroller because of a lot of automation that Scroller provides. And the future of this project is actually giving a fully managed API hosting for social networking API, getting a fully managed hosting. People can scale it up, people can use it on any project, existing or new, to build their next social networking feature. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can send me the questions in the GitHub issues. You can connect me at my website psychocode.com, or just send me an email at pranjal@corpusvision.com. Thank you so much and see you all soon.